It appears your ludicrous boyfriend has been uploading videos in the absolute highest quality, where he's not moving and only speaking, which is very much not necessary and explains enormous time spent uploading / converting. So this is reduced 320p, chapter 1 of The Mouse and His Child, or at least part of it. The tramp was big and squarely built, and he walked with the rolling stride of the long road, his steps too big for little streets of the little town. Shivering in his thin coat, he passed aimlessly through the crowd, with rosy-faced Christmas shoppers quickened their steps and moved aside to give him room. The sound of music made him stop at a toy shop, where the door, continually swinging open and shut in a moving stream of people, jangled its bell and sent warm air and Christmas carols out into the street. "Deck the halls with boughs of holly," sang the loudspeakers in the shop, and the tramp smelled Christmas in the pine wreaths, in the bright paint and the varnish, in the shining metal and fresh pasteboards of the new toys. He put his face close to the window and looked past the toy displays there, peered into the shop. Under the wreaths and the winkling colored lights, a little train clattered through a sparkling tunnel and over painted mountains on a green table, the tiny clacking of its wheels circling in and out of the music. Beyond it, the shelves were packed with tin toys and wooden toys and plush toys, dolls, teddies, bears, games, and puzzles. Fire engines and boats and wagons and row on row of closed boxes, each printed with a fascinating picture of the toy it hid from sight. On the corner, rising grandly above the heads of the children before it, was a splendid dollhouse. It was very large and expensive, a full 3 stories high, and a marvel of its kind. The porches and balconies were elegant with scrollwork brackets, and the mansard roof with its dormers and cross gables was topped by a tall brick chimney and a handsome lookout. In front of the house stood a clockwork elephant wearing a purple headcloth, and when the saleslady wound her up for the watching children, she walked slowly up and down, swinging her trunk and flapping her ears. Near the elephant was a little tin seal, balanced a red and yellow ball on her nose, and kept it spinning while her reflection in the glass countertop smiled up at her, and spun its own red and yellow ball. As the tramp watched, the saleslady opened a box and took out 2 toy mice, a large one and a small one, who stood straight upright with outstretched arms and joined hands. They wore blue velveteen trousers and patent leather shoes, and glass bead eyes with white thread whiskers, and black rubber tails. When the saleslady wound the key in the mouse the father's back, he danced in a circle, swinging his little son up off the counter and down again, while the children laughed and reached out to touch them. Around and around they danced gravely, and more slowly as the spring unwound, until the mouse father came to a stop, holding the child high in his upraised arms. The saleslady, looking up as she wound the toy again, saw the tramp's whiskered, stirring face on the other side of the glass. She pursed her mouth and looked away, and the tramp turned from the window back to the street. The grey sky had begun to let down its snow, and the ragged man stood in the middle of the pavement while the soft flakes fell around him, and the people quick-stepped past him. Then, with his big broken shoes printing in his footsteps in the fresh snow, he solemnly danced in a little circle, swinging his empty arms up and down. A little black and white spotted dog trotting past stopped and sat down to look at him, and for a moment the man and the dog were the only 2 creatures in the street not moving in a fixed direction. People laughed, shook their heads, and hurried on. The tramp stopped with empty arms upraised, then he lowered his head, jammed his hands into his pockets, and lurched away down the street, around a corner, and into the evening and the lamplight on the snow. The dog sniffed at his footprints and trotted on where they led. The store closed. The customers and clerks went home. The music was silent. The wreaths were dim. The shop was dark except for the dollhouse on the counter. Light streamed from all its windows, out into the shadows around it, and the toys before it stood up silhouetted black and motionless as the hours slowly passed. Then, "Midnight," said the old clock store. Its pendulum swung gleamingly in the shadows as it counted 12 thin chimes into the silence, folded its hands together, and stared out through the dark window at the thick snow sifting through the light of the street lamp. Far away, and muffled by the snow, the town hall clock struck midnight with its deeper note. "Where are we?" the mouse child asked his father. His voice was tiny in the stillness of the night. "I don't know," the father answered. "What are we, Papa?" "I don't know. We must wait and see." "What astonishing ignorance," said the clockwork elephant. "But of course you're new. I've been here such a long time that I've forgotten how it was. Now then," she said, "this place is a toy shop, and you are toy mice. People are going to come and buy you for Christmas because it's almost a time called Christmas." "Why haven't they bought you?" asked the little tin seal. "How come you've stayed so long?" "It isn't quite the same for me, dear," replied the elephant. "I'm part of the establishment, you see, and this is my house." The house was certainly grand enough for her, and indeed for anyone. The very cornices and caravan baskets bespoke a residence of dignity and style, and the dolls never set foot outside it. They had no need to. Everything they could possibly want was there. From the covered platters and the shifting chafing dishes on the sideboard to the ebony grand piano among the potted ferns in the conservatory, no expense had been spared, and no detail was wanting. The house had rooms for every purpose, and opulently furnished and appropriately occupied. There was a piano teacher doll and a young lady pupil doll in the conservatory, and a nursemaid doll for the children dolls in the nursery, and a cook and butler doll in the kitchen. Interminable weekend guest dolls lay in the guest room beds, sporting dolls playing billiards in the billiard room, and a scholar doll in the library never ceased perusal of the books he held, although he kept in touch with the world by the hand he lightly rested on the globe that stood beside him. There was even an astronomer doll in the lookout observatory who tirelessly aimed his little telescope at the automatic fire sprinklers in the ceiling of the shop. In the dining room, beneath a glittering chandelier, a party lady and gentleman dolls sat perpetually around the table. Whatever the cook and butler might have hoped to serve them, they had never taken anything but tea, and that from empty cups, while plaster cakes and pastry, defying time, stood by the silver teapot on the white damask cloth. It was the elephant's constant delight to watch the tea party through the window, and as the hostess took great pride in the quality of her hospitality, "Have another cup of tea," she said to one of the ladies. "Try a little pastry." All right, Christy, we'll continue this tomorrow, and I'll make sure it's longer, because this story is quite long. I hope you like it, and let me know if the quality is any worse for sound. I love you, Christy. Sleep well, keep calm, find love, carry on, and I'll talk to you in the morning. Good night, sweetheart. I love you.